58 preview show starts now.
Thanks for tuning in to Fire Safety with Luke. Today we unfortunately received news of a fire breaking out in Dartmouth High School after a student apparently left his pan unattended in cooking class and a fire broke out. Let's take you down to the scene with firefighter Anthony to explain how this accident happened and how to prevent one in the future.
Hi, thank you for having me. 4 quick things you want to remember in regards to fire safety in the kitchen is first, having a fire extinguisher that is up to date and inspected. You want to make sure that it is also a dry chemical extinguisher. If you have a fire on top of the stove, remember to use a lid. If you have a fire in your oven or in your microwave, leave the doors closed, and in both these situations, call 911 as soon as possible. And lastly, make sure you never use water on a stovetop or oven fire, because this will cause grease to splatter and extend the fire to your kitchen cabinets.
Yes, thank you firefighter Anthony for those tips. I think now we'll all be more prepared if we ever face a situation like this.
Welcome everybody back to DHS SportsCenter. We are live here on location at Cask and Pig of North Dartmouth, and we have Caden DeManch, Mr. Shea, our principal here at Dartmouth High School, and Director of Teaching and Learning, Mr. Tebow. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, Ben. I'm glad to be here again.
Yeah,
it's Super Bowl week. How can you not be excited?
So first things first. Again, this is the biggest week of the year, the Super Bowl. Thousands of fans are going to gather together. The lowest ticket was in the nosebleeds for $7,000, which is insane.
Did you buy that ticket, Ben?
No, but we'll go to that context later because there was a student at Dartmouth High School who's going to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So first things first, we're going to talk.
Congratulations, Caden.
It was a senior, though. I'll tell you that.
Unfortunately, it wasn't me.
It was a senior, though. I'll tell you that much. So we're going to start with the San Francisco 49ers, and this year they finished at a 12-5 overall record. We're going to go around the horn and start with Caden. Start with me first, and then we'll go to Mr. Tebow. First things first, I think the 49ers had a great year so far this year. Along with that, last year in the championship game, they fell short to Philadelphia with Brock Purdy injured, and then they brought in Josh Johnson, which really made a little bit of a mix-up because they thought that Christian McCaffrey was going to go in as emergency quarterback. But this time around, from the jump, I felt like San Francisco was one of my top tiers to go to the Super Bowl. But the Dolphins was going to be my AFC champion, which ended up not being that. But Brock Purdy this season's been lights out for sure. I hope he goes second in MVP voting this year. Either that I feel like Christian McCaffrey might win MVP for that this year for the NFL. He's had a really electric year, 272 carries, 1,459 yards, 14 touchdowns this season. So I do think the 49ers have a lot of firepower on that defense too. They got good defensive line and a great secondary, and I don't know how Mahomes will deal with that on Sunday. So, Caden, what are your thoughts?
I definitely think San Francisco is opening as a favorite. Vegas already has them as a 2.5 point favorite in this game. And I do think that McCaffrey should be the MVP. Will he be? No, I think it's probably going to be not McCaffrey. It's going to be Lamar Jackson. But
Sure.
regardless, you talked a lot about their offense. Their defense is what I think is going to turn the tables of this game. I don't think that Mahomes is going to be able to combat the power of Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. The threat that those two pose to him, even though he scrambles like heck, he's going to have to throw the ball eventually. And when your top receivers are MVS, who's only turned up in the last 2 games, Rashee Rice, who's never been to the Super Bowl, and like Kadarius Toney, who it might be better off if the dude doesn't play. I think that San Fran's defense is going to overpower Chiefs' offense, but honestly, the Chiefs are like the new age dynasty, so you can never count them out.
Mr. Shea?
Yeah, I think you look at like Bosa, and I think he finally woke up in the third quarter the other week. He was kind of in the playoffs. He was a little bit into a slump. I think 49ers came off so hot and so electric, and I almost needed that midseason slump to kind of like be like wake them up a little bit and say they're not invincible. And I think coming out of that slump, you really saw them be able to pull out the victory in Detroit, being down and coming through it and saying we've been through hard times. So I think that was a really good thing for them, and that Shanahan mentality of can he win the big game is going to be the big question, really.
Yeah, so I like that point, Mr. Shea, that you make about 49ers being battle-tested. I think that's certainly important. I'm going to push back a little bit on Caden suggesting that the Chiefs are already a new age dynasty. Let's have them win this one, and then we can talk about them as a dynasty. But I think that they're not going to win this game. I think the 49ers are going to dominate from start to finish. I think that the Chiefs, quite frankly, got lucky to win the last time they played the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Jimmy Garoppolo missed that fourth quarter throw. They were up by 10 going into the fourth quarter. I don't think that happens again because I think now, unlike then, you have Christian McCaffrey as a workhorse to lean on. And the other piece I would just say is no one mentioned, but, Ben, you talked about this being the best weekend of the year, but last weekend was the Grammys, and that was pretty good too with Taylor Swift. So I guess the big question is, will there be more shots at Taylor Swift this week or last week?
Did you hear about the rumor? I don't know if you heard. I saw on social media, or I don't know if it was on Twitter or Facebook or whatnot. But I heard if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Travis Kelce might propose to Taylor Swift. I don't think it's true because I think it's a little too early to say, pull out a ring and say, marry me, Juliet.
So my daughter Bella would love that. Absolutely. Bella and Sophia would both love that. That's been the one blessing with Taylor Swift dating Travis Kelce is that both of my daughters now watch football with me if the Chiefs are playing because they want to see Travis. They want to see Taylor Swift rather.
And supposedly that this might be the most watched Super Bowl because of Taylor Swift, though, because, you got a lot of Swiftie fans out there, whatever you want to call them. I don't refer myself as a Swiftie. I do like Taylor Swift's music, but I do not like the public attention. I don't like the public attention on it.
Why not, though? It's not her that's doing it. It's CBS and it's the networks that are
it's the networks,
shifting,
the paparazzi,
right?
whatnot.
She's just there to support, her boyfriend, which... Quite frankly, I think he should have been at the Grammys to support her, but
now he's mentally
Super Bowl
preparing.
week, yeah, I'm with
I
that.
have distractions, he says.
I'm with you, Caden, on that one.
Can I talk, Ben, real quick about the other thing?
If
the Chiefs win, so the other rumor is that if the Chiefs, or not rumor, but talk show radio anyway, if the Chiefs win, that Andy Reid will retire, and that Bill Belichick could suddenly end up as the Chiefs coach. I would love that.
I would love that
too.
lie.
I would love that. I would love for Coach Belichick to have an opportunity to make a run with another team and see how Mr. Kraft feels about that.
And that will be the only time I'll actually root for the Kansas City Chiefs, actually. Moving on from there, I got to say the defense, too. We didn't pick up on this, but, this year on the defense, Nick Bosa, 34 tackles, 10.5 sacks, which I think he was the third or fourth in the NFL this season. But for sure, we talked about the secondary. That phenomenal secondary. You got Fred Warner, who's one of the greatest edge rushers and great linebackers on that team, who's really explosive. The man can play football. And like you just said, the last time that they played the Super Bowl, they got a little bit outcoached by Andy Reid and team. And, at the time, Tyreek Hill was on the team. You had a bunch of players that really enhanced that offense for Kansas City. So this time around, it's San Francisco who's got the better offense and the better defense this time around. Let's see how they do.
I'm going to push back on the defense, though. I think that defense came out so electric during the Baltimore Ravens game. That defense coordinator had that team stacked.
Spagnuolo.
Yeah, they were wearing 4 Spags shirts and stuff. I think he's been around for a long time. So that's the question I have is, right, so would I have Spagnuolo against Brock Purdy, right, or Patrick Mahomes? That's the debate you have, right?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to. I think this is going to be a fun game to watch, and I think it's actually going to be some more defensive play than we really think it's going to be.
And Steve Spagnuolo is probably undoubtedly one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time. He was a good defensive coordinator when he was in New York. Despite the fact that he defeated us in Super Bowl. No, that's once.
Man.
Once.
He was a head coach, right, by the second time?
No.
Wasn't it Coughlin?
Coughlin was the head coach, but Spagnuolo was the defensive coordinator.
In 2012, but he didn't.
No, he was the defensive coordinator when they were undefeated, too, and lost.
Yeah.
The Patriots lost. That first Super Bowl
But
loss.
he has 3 Super Bowls,
That game
though.
didn't exist. I do not know what game we're talking about. I have blocked
So his
that from my
3
brain.
Super Bowls been the 2 with the Giants, and then the first one with the Chiefs.
Oh, I didn't know. I
Oh,
forgot they got a
no,
new
this-
defensive
the-
coordinator
yeah.
by the time that came around, though. I do think Steve Spagnuolo is a good defensive coordinator overall. And then,
He's a Massachusetts guy,
I know.
Steve Spagnuolo.
Oh, so there's bias.
And didn't he graduate from UMass Amherst?
That sounds right. That sounds right.
We need a stat boy here.
That's for sure.
Maybe Mr. Parati can
Fact
look
check
that up.
that one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Fact check that one. So moving on there, Kansas City. They finished at an 11-6 record, the defending Super Bowl champions. Coming in here with Patrick Mahomes this season, who's not played really one of his best seasons, probably one of his worst seasons. Although you can't bet against Mahomes. There is a factor that Mahomes pulls something out of the hat. He's presumably, I feel like that Patrick Mahomes, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's for sure better than Peyton Manning.
Oh, thank God you
no,
said Peyton
you were
Manning.
go-
I was
I
going to
know.
have a heart attack.
I thought you were
Everyone
going
in this
better than
room
I was
Brady.
gonna walk out of here.
But he's going to be, if he wins the Super Bowl, he's undoubtedly better than Peyton Manning in this. The
3
man,
versus 2.
he's been in 4 Super Bowls in 6 of his seasons as a quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs.
So, yeah, I would agree with your take there, Ben. One of the things, and this might be a little bit of a dated viewpoint on this, but Bill Parcells, who used to coach the Patriots, love
Don't
Bill
get me started
Parcells.
with Bill Parcells.
You're not a Bill Parcells fan?
No.
Oh, well, we can agree to
like this
disagree.
one.
But Bill Parcells used to say all the time that the one stat that matters for quarterbacks is wins. Do
Sure.
they win? And that stat alone, I mean, that's what makes Mahomes better than Peyton Manning, in my opinion, is that he already has 2 Super Bowl wins. This is a chance for a third. When Peyton got to the big game, he lost more often than not, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about all the big games, the championship games as well as the Super Bowls. So I
It was
would-
so fun watching Peyton choke back
I
in the
know.
day. It was awesome.
I know.
Peyton and Brady were it was just a dogfight just watching both of them together. And, I was watching that AFC Championship game a few years back, and this is when,
Is that the Denver one?
yeah, there was the one in Denver, and they won Super Bowl 50. That was probably one of the most entertaining matchups between Brady and Manning that I've seen in a long time, for sure. And then I remember there was one that he was up in Foxborough, and the Denver was up 24-0 at the half, and then Brady comes back and
that was a cold game.
my father was at that game too. I think he was up in the club's Putnam suite.
I mean, Manning's last Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50, they won because of Von Miller and
Yeah.
DeMarcus Ware and Wade Phillips and that Denver defense. Manning couldn't throw the ball from here to the 10-yard line. Right.
He had no
So-
feeling in his hand.
And let's not forget that the Patriots were riddled with injuries that year when they played them in the AFC Championship game.
They got Aaron
Matthew
Dobson.
Slater was playing wide receiver in that game. So
like first receiver.
Yeah.
And then they had old Steven Jackson, who was a beast back then in Los Angeles, but came to New England, and they like you were just saying, they were dealing with a lot of injuries. They lost Deion Lewis that season. They lost Aaron Dobson. I don't know if you guys remember him.
Well, he's forgettable.
Dang.
Vaguely remember, but then Julian Edelman had the broken foot.
That's right.
And then Gronkowski tore his ACL.
Correct.
Which really was a big impact that season. If the whole team was injured, healthy, I see them potentially going 17-0 that season.
17-0 might be a bit of a stretch. That one might be a bit of a stretch, Benny.
Yeah.
What?
Did he end up going to Amherst?
Springfield.
Oh,
Springfield College. There you go.
But he was an assistant. I think I looked it up too. He was an assistant at UMass at one point, like a grad assistant there.
So
Yeah.
that's what it was.
all right. Back to the story, though. Travis Kelce, too, this year, has had one of the lowest touchdown career seasons in his career this year. It's probably because of Taylor Swift.
Ben,
Yeah, the Taylor Swift effect, of course.
you know what they say. Hate is going to hate, Ben.
And the haters gonna hate.
I do want to comment on his season though. When you don't have a receiver to throw to, you can stack the box, and then you can also stack the flat where he gets all his receptions at. So he was playing sometimes triple covered because no one was gonna care about anyone else on the team, right? Like, I think that's what it comes down to, is that. So he still had a really good season. Everyone's saying he had an off season. He still had a great season. The touchdowns may not have been there, but he's still clutch.
How did he play in the game against Buffalo in the playoffs, Ben?
I mean, he got 2 touchdowns that game,
Two?
right?
Or
2
3?
or 1.
No,
Either
he definitely had multiple.
I think he had 2.
He had 2.
I think he had 2.
And then,
sorry.
championship round, played pretty good.
And I think she was at both games.
She was at both games.
She
My
was.
point here, Ben, is big players come up in big games, and I think Travis Kelce is a big game player. As much as he'll never be the complete tight end that Rob Gronkowski was, I don't think it's even close, because I don't think Kelce blocks the way that Gronk did.
Mm-hmm.
But as a receiver, pure receiving tight end, there's no arguing how talented he is. And yes, it might be a down year. He is getting older.
I was
But,
right, 2 touchdowns. He
2
got.
touchdowns.
He is aging, though. Yeah.
He is aging, for sure.
I would say that the better tight end in this game, and I may be controversial for saying it, the more complete tight end is Kittle.
Yeah, Caden.
Kittle blocks
Yes.
like heck, and I've seen Kittle turn into a legitimate force on this San Fran offense, and an offense that boasts Ayuk, who I've been saying since the beginning of the season is slated for a breakout, and Debo, who while being injured has still come back and shown up in the postseason. I do think that Kittle will have a better game than Kelce in this one, because I also think, because L'Jarius Sneed's not going to guard him. L'Jarius Sneed's going to guard Ayuk. Yeah, Kittle's going to have a better game, I think, than Kelce, and I think he's already showing that he's passing him. I think it might be also because of Kelce's age and stuff, but in terms of blocking and pass-catching abilities, I do think he's better than Kelce.
Yeah, I think that if Kansas City's going to win, Kelce has to have a stellar. He has to be one of those Gronk Super Bowls that he just ate up every ball.
So we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm going to move us in this direction, Ben, if it's okay.
Why not?
2 years ago, the last time you had me on your Super Bowl show, somehow, I got kicked off last year for Chris Foley, so I'm glad I'm back this year. I appreciate that. But 2 years ago, I talked about the game would be won in the trenches, and I think that's true this year as well.
I agree with
and
you.
And I
there.
want to give a huge shout-out as a former offensive lineman to Trent Williams, one of the best left tackles to play the game. And sure. I do think that the 49ers are going to win, and I really do think they're going to dominate the game, and I think that's because the offensive line for the 49ers is going to handle the Chiefs' defensive line in a way that other teams have not been able to, starting with Trent Williams up front.
Believe it or not, I also was an offensive lineman too.
We've yet to see the film, Mr. Shea. Hey, how was your junior year when you guys played Case? How was that?
We need to make a highlight reel.
I do want to. again, as the undersized men, I want to give the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line some credit too, because Mahomes was not sacked until in the playoffs until the third quarter of the Baltimore game too. So like that Kansas City Chiefs line was getting beat up all season, but they have stepped up in the playoffs big time.
Yeah, and without Joe Tooney, right?
Yeah.
So he's not. I don't think he's going to play in the Super Bowl either. But they definitely, you're right. They played well against the Ravens for sure.
And don't get me wrong, that Kansas City had a new offensive coordinator this season. They had Matt Nagy. He was an okay coach in Chicago. I just thought Chicago was a bad team because the general manager was terrible. I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but like still.
Shout out Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch Trubisky was one.
Steelers' third string quarterback?
Yep.
Is he now? Yeah, because Rudolph. Yeah.
It's funny because I was talking to after we played the Patriots played the Steelers. I remember Mr. Shea and I had a conversation with Mr. Martin and one Coogan. We were talking about that whole game, and he was upset because we won that game. And he was, Mr. Martin was like, "Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing about the whole Mac Jones, Zappy, how they're terrible and whatnot." But looking at Mitch Trubisky on that field, oh my goodness, he was terrible.
Well, he is. Yeah, he's not great. But Patriots defense is pretty good too. People forget how good their defense was this year because of how poor their offense was.
Yeah.
But the Patriots defense played very well all season.
And how banged up they were too. You know,
Right.
you lose Gonzo early.
Yeah.
Judon.
Judon.
Yeah.
And you lost a lot of big guys on offense too. You lost Kendrick Bourne, but like you lost Kendrick Bourne, and then you just lost midway through the season Ramondre Stevenson due to an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So then you had Ezekiel Elliott come onto the offense, and I think, for example, I know this is off topic to the Super Bowl, but I want him back next year, Zeke.
Really?
I think he had a great year as running back too. And, he was a good power back in the goal line, for example. Like, he was more comfortable when he was running up those drawing plays up the middle. And, yeah, I'd want him back next year, for example.
But he said he hates snow games.
I know he hates snow games, for example.
I think he
Did-
hates all cold weather.
Can't play in New England that way.
I forgot. Who's the guy who said that?
It was Zeke.
It was not Zeke.
Yeah.
It was another guy. I thought it was Hopkins who said that. And then,
Oh, what? DeAndre, and what? That's why he didn't come here?
yeah.
There might have been other reasons as to why, but
And I remember over the summer, before vacation, I was with Mr. Shea up in BU. And before we had the show earlier this year with Mr. Coogan, the Back to School Bash. We were talking about that, and he was like, I was like raving for DeAndre Hopkins. I saw him on Instagram with Matt Judon's story. I was raving for him so much. And Mr. Shea was like, "Don't get too excited because Mike Vrabel can pull something out of the hat." And he,
Well, I also
especially
said
at
I think
the time,
he hated Billy O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien. Now that Bill O'Brien's gone, and now at Ohio State, I think Patriots have a better chance getting him now if he were a free agent now.
Back to Kansas City too, and we did talk about McCaffrey. I do think it's something to say about Pacheco too, though, and that's going to be, again, you figure a way to get Kelsey the ball is if they can loosen up and get him out in the flat, and because of Pacheco having a really good game. That's the only really way I see it is Kelsey doesn't drop a ball like he basically didn't do against Baltimore. What do you have, one drop in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Right?
something like that.
And and I think it was tipped or something too, right? It was kind of a drop. But you get Pacheco in that area and you'll get Kelsey open. But then again, there were years when I said I don't know how the Patriots are going to win, and Brady found a way. So can Mahomes pull a rabbit out of his hat?
I definitely said that in 2018 because we had that Miami miracle, and then when Tom Brady threw that interception, I was like, "Oh, God dang it!" And then all of a sudden, D Ford was offside. I was like, "Oh, thank God."
Are we going to do predictions, Ben?
Yeah, we're gonna do predictions. So we're gonna start with you, and then
I get to go first? Excellent.
I know
I'm
you
gonna-
made your prediction earlier in the show,
I'm
but
going
like,
to say 49ers 31 and the Chiefs 20.
that's a good prediction. That was the score last time around. for between the 49ers and Kansas City.
Was it?
Yeah,
But reversed?
31, but reverse teams now this time.
My turn.
Yep.
I think San Fran wins big, so I'm gonna go San Fran 24, Kansas City 16. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think the defenses are going to step up.
I do agree with the defense is stepping up. I see San Fran's 2.5-point spread. I see the 47.5 over/under. I see the Chiefs getting incredibly lucky at points, but I ultimately see San Fran feeling the chip on their shoulder and winning 24-20.
So, the floor is mine. All right. I do think, though, first off, the Super Bowl this year, we talked about the $7,000 price. The kicker for the football team, Louis Freitas, is going to the Super Bowl.
Louis going?
Manuel.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's leaving on Friday to go to Las Vegas to watch the big game.
Good for Louis.
And my prediction, first off, I'm going to dedicate it to him, though. I do think Kansas City's a good team. They got a great offense. They got a good defense, like we just talked about. Steve Spagnuolo, he's a great defensive coordinator. And then the offense this year was really on point. Overall, people just say, can't bet against Mahomes. Well, you know what? That's not true. I'm going bang, bang, Niner gang. 49ers winning it all this year. The final score, I'm thinking 27-24 49ers.
Valid.
I know we didn't. I know we talked about this before the show. We talked about the food. What are your favorite foods?
Buffalo chicken dip, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
I gotta go classic wings, man. Give me the wings. Give me a whole plate of them, all different flavors, tons of blue cheese.
Yeah.
That's my dream.
You said buffalo wings?
I'll take buffalo, gold
One of
fever,
the-
any flavor.
One of the
true,
other
yeah.
things that we'll
What is it?
have. Oh, I'm sorry.
You know,
Go ahead.
I know. I was just
Yeah.
going to say whatever you can get
Either
your
one.
hands on.
So we're here at Cask and Pig, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorites is the trash can nachos with
Oh, for sure.
with barbecue pulled pork. Highly recommend the trash can nachos, buffalo barbecue pulled pork, and then also the warm pretzel sticks. Can't go wrong.
halftime
Usher.
chocolate chip ice cream sandwich.
So you're not watching the halftime show.
Usher, I'll watch Usher, but I mean ice cream.
He's running
Yeah.
to the
He's
freezer
going to be
to throw the chip.
nose deep in that.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
I see what you're doing, Mr.
Yeah.
Shea.
Hey,
Get a
if
little
That
that's-
is
sugar
not a
rush.
bad idea.
Get a little sugar rush to get you through the second half of the game.
Hey, Mr.
Highly
Chris
underrated.
Foley might have to come over to your house the second half of the game. But Mr. Chris Foley, did he make a prediction though to the Super Bowl? We were just on the phone.
Mr. Christofoli doesn't know whether a football is filled with air
He's
or
a
stuffed
baseball
with
guy.
feathers. He's a baseball guy.
He
So
quit football.
any predictions that he would make would have to be taken with a huge grain of salt. But if I know Mr. Christofoli, he's probably picking the 49ers because he would have listened to what we all said and then just jumped on board.
Yeah.
Does it concern anyone that no one picked the Chiefs?
It really did.
Does it concern anyone?
Well,
yeah,
it did.
yeah, I mean, I think they'll probably win and we'll all look like fools. But no, I mean, I just think the 49ers should win. But who should win and who does win is often not one and the same. So that's why they play the game, I guess.
Yeah. When we talk about food, though, I'd say one underrated thing I like is chips and guac.
Yeah,
Choice.
that's a good
And for the
pick.
I remember every year when I broke my leg, actually, I'll tell you a story about that in a moment. But like, it was a Patriots-Ravens game. I was literally sitting down and I had nothing to do. I was in a wheelchair and had my leg propped up, and all I ate was chips and guac. Just watching the game, it was pretty. All I was just doing was raging, watching the Patriots lose that game and Mac Jones get injured. That being said, when I got injured, this is when it was a Patriots-Panthers joint practice, and Christian McCaffrey was on the team at the time.
Yep.
I was about maybe the distance from here to Mr. Parati. I was that close to Christian McCaffrey. When I broke my leg, I was on like there was rope, so I was ahead of the rope, so I could literally go up to him if I were able to walk and say what's up to him. So, yeah, for ice cream though, I wouldn't go ice cream for the Super Bowl. Going on to the second half and then watching Usher.
Between 2 chocolate chip cookies, it's delicious.
That does sound good. I might have to go with that.
What is Usher opening with?
If
DJ
I-
God has fallen in love.
I agree with him.
I say yeah.
I think he
yeah.
ends with yeah, and then he brings out Little John and Ludacris on.
All right.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Ben, I have to run. Thank you for having me on your Super Bowl show again.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Crisafulli's a little bit hurt. He wasn't part of it, but,
Yeah.
let's stick to the sports he knows. Baseball.
For sure. All right, folks. Right now we're gonna go tune in. If we can get a shot real quick of me. So right now we're gonna go to the. We just talked about no predictions for the Chiefs. Well, 11 people voted for Kansas City in our latest interviews in the halls for the Super Bowl predictions. Let's take a look right now. I'm here with a couple students. Who you guys got for the Super Bowl this year?
I got the 49ers, 27-24.
49ers.
Niners all day.
The Chiefs.
All right, thank you. All right. I'm here with Johan. What do you got winning for the Super Bowl this year?
I got the 49ers. I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate Taylor Swift. Go Niners.
I'm here with a couple new students from Borges' Pace. Who you got winning the Super Bowl?
I got the Chiefs. I got the Chiefs.
Niners.
Chiefs, baby.
Niners. I'm here with Tristan Almeida. Who you got winning the Super Bowl this year?
I got the San Francisco 49ers winning.
All right. I'm here with a couple new students. Who you guys got winning the Super Bowl?
I got the 49ers. I also have the 49ers.
I got the Niners. I hate Taylor Swift.
Me too. I agree with that. Niners. I want the Niners to win, but the Chiefs are going to win like every year.
All right. I'm here with a couple students. Who you guys got winning the Super Bowl?
The 49ers. The Chiefs.
All right. Thank you. I'm here with Matt Downs. Who you got winning the Super Bowl?
I got the 49ers. I think I got the 49ers.
I am here with a couple new students. Who you guys got winning the Super Bowl?
I got Mahomes and the Chiefs, man. I don't think.
Yeah, I got the Chiefs too. I don't think they're going to lose. The rest are going to find any way to give them the win, you know?
Yeah, I got the Chiefs. Mahomes, you can't bet against them, man.
Yeah, that's a good prediction there, Elijah. Thank you. I'm here with Maddox Dupree and Louis Freitas. Who you guys got winning the Super Bowl?
I got Chiefs, man. You don't want to bet against Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be 34-24 Chiefs.
San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy's thrown for 400 yards. CMC's having 3 touchdowns.
Wow. I have a couple new students, Carter Bates and Noah Pedro. Who you guys got winning the Super Bowl?
I got the 49ers.
I got the Chiefs.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of DHS SportsCenter. I want to thank Caden DeManch, my buddy here, Mr. Shea, our principal, and our Director of Teaching and Learning, Mr. Tebow. I also want to thank the students that took time out of their pace period to get some interviews done. On our next episode, we will be interviewing our school record mile breaker, Tyler Medeiros, who is number 1 in Division III and number 2 in Massachusetts for our mile breaker. If you would like to see more of our episodes here on DHS SportsCenter or on DHS TV Media, subscribe, like, and turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on new upcoming episodes. I will finally want to thank Cask and Pig for the opportunity in hosting this show today. See you all next time on DHS SportsCenter.